Happiness here. Today I'm going to show you how to take the leftovers of your rotisserie chicken from Costco and turn it into a delicious big pot of chicken stock that you can use for soups. Everyone loves these $5 chickens. No, they're not organic. No, they're not completely additive free. But when I'm running short on time and when I'm running short on energy and desire to cook, I know that picking up one of these at Costco is actually faster than swinging through fast food and just getting like bunless hamburgers or protein burgers for the kids, and it's going to cost a whole lot less. So for our family of 5, what we do is the first night we just eat the chicken. So I kind of slice it up and let the kids pull off what they want. And then after that, usually the next day, I just quickly put it in a pot, cover with filtered water, add a little bit of salt because we do like our chicken broth really salty, and then simmer it for a couple hours. And then I usually turn it off as I'm getting dinner ready. And then by the time dinner's done and I'm on to clean up, I either put it in the fridge in jars to use that week, or I can it really quickly in my pressure canner, which I'll show in another video. But this is a great way to make essentially free chicken broth. It's super good for you. It's got the amino acids, and then you'll even find that it's really easy to pick the extra meat off after you make the broth, and that's good. It's not super flavorful because a lot of the flavor has gone into the broth that you'll use for soups, but it's a great protein rich addition to, I use it usually in tacos or I use it in chicken salad. So let's go. Super easy. You're gonna love it if you like rotisserie chickens from Costco like I do, or even if you like rotisserie chickens that are like the Bear brand is a little healthier, and I think it has less or no additives in it from higher end grocery stores. Then either way, this is the same process. So let's go. It takes like 5 minutes. You're gonna definitely want to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take off this string. It's probably cotton. It's probably fine if it's like difficult to take off. I'm sure it'd be fine if you left it in. But I'm going to go ahead and take the string that was holding it together off. Put that in there. And then you can see we ate quite a bit. My kids get excited about chicken just because I like red meat better. And we have a lot of red meat that we get because we're in Montana. Red meat is very easy to grow in Montana. So getting a big rotisserie chicken, they're happy to eat this. Just put it right in your pot, and then I'm gonna add all this stuff too. Like all this gelatin stuff, this is like the collagen. This is the stuff that you're buying collagen in capsules or supplements or stuff. This is collagen right from the chicken, and it's flavorful. And we're gonna add all of that. So we've got all our chicken and then the little jelly stuff from the bottom in there. If you have veggie scraps, you're welcome to put them in right now. Onion peels, especially like clean onion peels. So like the outside, the really papery one, I'll usually take off, and then an inside one I know it's gonna be clean because I just opened it up. That's great to add in, and that'll give it a nice rich color. But these rotisserie chickens, because they're so dark on the outside already, it really does make a really pretty broth. So we're just going to cover this with filtered water. This was filtered water from my Berkey. If you usually cook with tap water and there's no reason that you have to use filtered water. I just try to use filtered water when I can when I'm cooking. And we're going to turn this. First we'll turn it to high and we'll wait till it's starting to boil. Then we'll put the lid on and turn it to low and let it simmer. Right now it's 225. I usually like to let this simmer for a couple hours. And what I usually do is just turn it off while I'm doing dinner. And so then it's cooled and it's like at a safer temperature to pour after dinner's done. So we're gonna let this come to a boil, and I'll show you what I mean by a slow boil and when it starts doing that. And cover and simmer for a couple hours. Super easy, right? Right now there's some bubbles. You can see it's starting to like kind of want to boil. This is when I turn it down to, this burner is pretty big, so I have to turn it down quite a bit. So I turn it down to like 2, medium low, and different burners, different pots, different stoves are going to be different. And so we're just going to let this simmer because we don't want it to boil over and make a mess. and putting the lid helps. It builds up a little bit of pressure in there. And so putting the lid on helps keep the heat in, keep anything that's flying around in the air out, and will help it turn into some nice, beautiful broth. So it'll turn into some nice, beautiful broth by the time we have dinner. So right now it's 2:53. It took maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to get up to this temperature, just because I was doing it nice and slow because I didn't want it to accidentally go over. And took about half an hour to get to this point. Put the lid on, turn it down. So it's just gonna simmer and cook here for another couple hours. And this is where you don't have to be exact. That's what's so good about this and why I wanted to show you this. Like, you can use a cheap chicken. All you do is cover it in water. You could have added a little bit of salt if you want. I like to taste mine afterwards and see if it needs salt or not. A lot of times the rotisserie chicken, because it already does have salt, won't need more salt. And yeah, this is it. And then it'll be ready to strain off around dinner time. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. It's not bubbling much. So we'll see if we can get it to bubble a little bit more. It's like a balancing game on how much you need to turn it up to keep it simmering, but also not have it boil over. Okay, so now it's 5:20, getting the kids' dinner ready. I'll just show you that. And I'm just gonna leave it here, turn the heat off. If you need it to cool down a little faster, leave the lid off so the heat can escape up. But if not, I'm just gonna leave the lid on right now and let this cool down a little bit, just so it's not boiling when I'm pouring it into my jars. And then we're really done. Now, our next step is gonna be to just strain off the broth into jars. And I'm gonna pick off the rest of the meat from the chicken. It's like turning around. You can still see there's quite a bit of meat in there. And it's gonna be less flavorful because we did just boil it and the flavor went into the broth. But it's still great for chicken salad because that's, you know, you're adding seasonings to it, and also taco meat. We've let this cool a little bit. I don't skim the fat off the top. I like the fat. This is a canning funnel, and this goes in it. If you don't have this, you can dump this into a whole nother pot through a colander, like you're emptying out pasta. And just make sure you put another pot underneath the colander so you don't lose all your broth. But we're just gonna take most of it out with a ladle. If you don't have a ladle, a coffee cup works just fine for this. And then the strainer in my canning funnel is gonna catch all the little bits of meat, which is fine if the meat goes in there as well. You don't want the bones in there. Look how nice and rich and yellow this broth is. We didn't even add anything to it. Like I said before, if you add onion skin to it, yellow onion skin, it'll turn even darker golden brown. So I got out 3-quart jars. We'll see how much this makes. There's one. If you're canning it, you only want to fill to below the rings. But I'm not. I'm just putting this in my fridge. So I just washed this jar because I keep them on top of my cupboard so they get a little dusty. People always ask me, do you need to sterilize jars before you can? And you don't. You just need them kitchen clean, which means like clean enough to eat off of. Because the canner does the sterilizing for you. Oh, look at this, perfect. We got a whole gallon of delicious golden chicken broth ready for our soups. And then we're gonna get that meat as well. If you're looking to decrease your grocery spending and increase your health this winter, I would love you to check out my 30-day soup challenge cookbook. We've done the soup challenge for like 5 or 6 years now on my email list. You can sign up. I'll put the link down below. But these are all of our favorite soups. And then I challenge you to eat soup once a day, every day, to lower your grocery budget and boost your health. A lot of my readers find that they sleep better, their kids eat better, their kids' immune system is boosted, all of that. And I've got it both in ebook and paperback for you. So I'd love to have you check it out. I'm gonna put all of this chicken that's still on here right into this. I love these because the glass comes so clean in the dishwasher that I love it. So I'm just gonna see how easy the chicken comes off of the bones. And then you can actually reuse these bones if you want to. I definitely recommend adding that onion skin if you're gonna reuse the bones. But like this is all cartilage. This will still turn into that protein-rich gelatiny stuff that's so good for you and your gut health. So I'm gonna pick off most of the meat here, and then I can save those bones and do chicken broth again. I might not fill it all the way with water when I do the second one. I might just fill it halfway, and so it'll make 2 quarts. But usually what I do is I pick off the chicken, then I put the rest of the skin and the bones, because it's all cooled by then, into a Ziploc and put it in the freezer. And then when I need to make broth again, I just write on it like first run chicken bones. Then when I need to make broth again, I've got the bones. These are lids I'm reusing. You're not supposed to reuse lids if you are canning. Lots of people do. But these lids, you can definitely reuse them if you're keeping them in the fridge. So then I'll just wait for this to cool. It's still pretty hot. I'll wait for them to cool and then I'll transfer them to the fridge. You might find that as your broth is cooling, these end up sealing. So you'll get like a suction, like you'll hear it come down and then it'll be sealed. That doesn't mean they're shelf stable. It does mean it'll last a little longer in the fridge just because nothing's getting in or out. But these still need, even if they seal, they need to be transferred to the fridge to store unless you're going to can them under pressure. So meat has to be canned under pressure. The sealing isn't actually what keeps canned goods safe. I mean, the sealing is an important part of keeping them safe, but in order to keep them safe, we need to sterilize what's inside as well, which is where the pressure canner comes in. And you can see another video that I have about that. Chicken? Mm-hmm. It's super yummy. Mm-hmm. You like it? What is that?
Ranch.
Ranch. You like ranch? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So out of that $5 chicken, out of that $5 chicken, we got a whole gallon. Oh, we're not going to put that in there. This is for our bones.
Oh.
Okay? But we're going to just put all the rest of this in. There's still a little bit of meat on there. You could definitely get if you want. Because I'm going to be using this for broth again, I left some of the skin in. Some of the skin is in here because I like to eat it. I'll just put this in the freezer for another batch. We got all this broth for delicious soups and all of this minus what Abby's eaten already. But enough definitely for a meal.
I'm gonna eat this later.
You're gonna eat it later?
Yeah.
Okay. But enough definitely for a meal for at least her and I. Maybe a couple toddler meals.
You edit these videos?
Uh-huh.
Oh.